Okay, good morning again and welcome to our first webinar on preparing for year end. We will have a question time at the end where you can type in your questions to the webinar. My name's Kylie, so if you've got any questions, just let me know. Okay, let's get started. Let's see. In today's webinar, what we'll cover is ordering your payment summaries, a few things that you can do now, some key tips for running a smooth end of financial year, and again, any questions and answers that you might have. So what are your responsibilities? The first thing is that you must ensure that your payment summaries reflect accurate information. Any grossed up reportable fringe benefits should have been sent through to us before the 22nd of May. And this year, you must submit your payment summary order form by Friday, the 3rd of July. And as every year, your employees must receive a copy of their payment summaries on or before the 14th of July. So how can we help you? In April, you most likely receive some interim year-end reports. These reports help you balance year-to-date data so far using your month-end reports. They also help you to identify any discrepancies that might need to be adjusted. So if you do have any questions, please contact your consultants. If you didn't receive these reports, there's still time to send them to you now. So there's 3 easy steps to complete once your year-to-date data is correct. The first step is to review your employer details. Second is your employee details. And third is to complete your order form. At step 3 in the summary process, you'll be able to choose for your payment summaries to be printed or available online to your employees. If you do choose to have your payment summaries printed and your employees have access online, they'll receive the printed copy as well as being able to view their payment summaries online. So just a little tip there, just make sure that you're not doubling up on production and also saving on costs. If they do have online access, you don't need to print them as well. On top of that, all terminated employees will receive printed payment summaries, and depending on how you complete your order form, they can be sent directly to their home address or to your office for you guys to distribute. So if you're not currently using the employee self-service function, just let your consultant know. They'll be able to give you more information and pricing, and we might even be able to implement it before the 30th of June. So once you've confirmed that you've run your final payroll for the year, you'll receive your reports, including the order form. So your payment summary figures should include any payrolls that have accounting dates between the 1st of July 2014 and the 30th of June 2015. It should also include any payments that are received into the employee's bank accounts between those dates as well. Should also include grossed up reportable fringe benefits, reportable employer super contributions or RESC, and some allowances and deductions may also be required to appear. You might need to adjust your accounting dates for your last payroll of the year to ensure that all of the dates fall into the time frames. But your consultant will also help you keep track of this, and they might give you a call or send you a quick email just to confirm any dates. So obviously we want your payment summaries to be correct as well, so please don't place your order until you have checked and agree with all of the details in the reports. So the main ones that you'll need to check are the year-to-date details, your employee details, your employer details, and the RESC. So if you do make any changes in this process, we can resend you new reports. However, it's not required. If you are changing year-to-date details, we will need to send you new reports. So once we have produced your payment summaries, we might, and you do need to make any changes, we will be able to organise the changes for you. However, there will be additional charges involved at that step. So if you do have any changes to your employee or employer details, they should be submitted by the 30th of June just to make sure it's in time with your ordering process. And again, your order form needs to be received by us on or before the 3rd of July. With just over 2 weeks to go, there are some things that you can start to work on now to ensure a smooth running of end of financial year. If you haven't done so already, you can provide your grossed up reportable fringe benefits. Again, check your employer details and employee details, and your RESC is correct. And you can also complete an interim year-to-date reconciliation. So you will be doing that again on or after the 30th of June. However, it is a good idea to do an interim one just to make sure you're on the right track. So the year-end reports and the order forms will be ready for you very soon. If you are ready for them now, that means that you've run your final payroll for the financial year. Simply contact your consultant. And again, a reminder on reportable fringe benefits. If you haven't provided them already, please provide them as soon as possible. They should be in an Excel format, including the family name, the given name, and the reportable amount. So the reportable amount should only be amounts over $2,000. So here's an example of an email communication that you should have already received. If you haven't received it and you haven't submitted your reportable fringe benefits yet, please contact your consultant. So firstly, your employer details. The main things that you need to verify is your employer name, address, your phone and fax numbers, your ABN, the payment summary signatory, and the industry code. So if there are any changes to that information, you can simply scribble it on the form and email it back to us. And as you can see, all of that key information is there in front of you. Now on to the employee details. The following details are crucial because they are sent to the Australian Tax Office. That's the employee name, tax file number, address, start date, termination date, date of birth. So all of these details will appear on the payment summary, but if your employee did start after the 1st of July, their actual start date will be used in the period of payments. Your employees might be able to update their own addresses online, so it's a good idea just to ask them to log on now and check that their details are correct before you run these reports. And again, if you're not using the self-service function, just contact us for more information. Oh, sorry about that. So here's an example of the employee details and the things that you need to check. Their start date and termination dates. You need to make sure that the tax file number has been supplied. A blank box there indicates that it is there. For confidentiality purposes, it can't actually be shown on this report. So if the TFN is generic, for example, those ones there, that means that we don't have the correct tax file number on file, and you'll need to go back to the employee to obtain the correct details. Addresses also need to be correct. So you need to make sure that there aren't any commas and that all of the addresses contain a state and a postcode. They should all also be Australian addresses. And again, if there's any changes to this information, simply write it on the form and scan or fax it back through to your consultant. RESC. This is a funny one for some people because there are a few variables. So what is included in RESC? All salary sacrifice to superannuation should be included, and any contribution that your employee has an influence over. So it may include some additional employer contributions, but basically if your employee has a say in how much goes to super, then it should be reportable. As a part of your year-end processing, you'll need to reconcile your figures to your month-end summary report and also your general ledger for most people. And again, reconciling these now, you'll be able to check that there's no issues so far. If you do happen to find an issue, contact your consultant as soon as possible. There's still plenty of time between now and 30 June to make any adjustments, and then you'll have confidence that there'll be no delays with the processing at year end. So we'll move on to our 8 key tips. Start planning and preparing now. It'll help you avoid any last minute issues that could affect any abilities to meet legal obligations. It'll also help you reduce your workload and the amount of stress that you'll experience. It's good also to educate your stakeholders. Let everybody involved in the process know that you have deadlines that need to be met. They may or may not be able to work with you with those, but it's good to communicate it. Also let them know that you will be busy and maybe some non-urgent work can wait until after you've ordered your payment summaries. And don't forget to communicate with your employees when you plan on having these available. And don't order your payment summaries too early. Obviously, you want to get them in as soon as possible, but we'll aim to produce them within 2 business days. If there are any adjustments, it should be picked up at least at this stage, and we'll be able to organise any changes for you. And if you do think that you need to make an adjustment, let us know as soon as possible. And again, we do want your order processes very, very quickly, but don't rush through it. You need to make sure that it is absolutely correct and all of the instructions are followed. So read the instructions carefully. Your reports will include a letter that gives you detailed information. And make sure that every question is answered. It'll save a lot of trouble and going backwards and forwards. And also remember, we do make changes to the ordering process every year. So even if you've ordered payment summaries with us before, it may be different. Check your reports thoroughly. We do give you several reports in the process. And again, they'll let you verify all of your employee and employer details. And by ensuring these figures are correct, you'll reduce the chance of any problems or delays. And again, by checking these reports, you'll reduce the risk that you'll need to amend any payment summaries and you'll avoid any charges. Make sure you reconcile your reports. Month-end payment summary reports for June will show you total payments for each pay code for the entire year. You should reconcile these figures back to your payment summary, and it's important to check that they balance because your payment summary production might be delayed if they don't reconcile. And again, you can use your April month-end reports and year-end reports that should have already been sent as well. If you don't have them, let us know. And don't order your payment summaries too late. It does take time for us to produce them. And this year, the 14th of July falls on a Tuesday. So if you're planning on posting out payment summaries, they'll need to be posted no later than the 9th of July. This takes into account the standard 3-day processing for Australia Post. And get your order in on time to ensure the fastest processing times. And lastly, help us to help you. Obviously, we're very busy over this time as well, and our priority over this period is the preparation of your payment summaries. If you have any non-urgent requests that are able to wait, still let us know and we'll be able to provide you with an estimated completion date. Okay, so we've moved on to the question time. I can see that there are a couple of questions. The first question that we've received today is, how do I receive my employer copies of payment summaries? So this year we have 3 options for you. The first is an express post option, which includes a tracking number. The second option is courier. This is available for Sydney Metro companies only. And the third option is electronic delivery. You'll just need to specify the name, the role, and the email address of the person that this is to be sent to, and we can send this off for you. All of the charges for these are all outlined on the order form. The second question that we received is, how do my employees receive their payment summaries? As I outlined in the webinar, there are 2 options for you. There is a printed version and an online version. If your employees do have access online, there is no requirement for you to print your payment summaries. However, terminated employees will receive a printed copy. If there's no other questions, we'll wrap up the webinar today.